So you're probably wondering what it's like to travel inside of China during this post-pandemic period. Well, let me show you. I've had a couple subscribers that have been in China for a while or plan to come to China as China opens its borders for foreigners slowly throughout this year, and they ask me, how is it like traveling in China now during this post-pandemic period? They wonder, can I still travel freely as I did before, taking the speed train, the buses, the airplanes? Well, for the past 3 months, I've taken speed trains, I've taken subways, and I've taken airplanes. I've gone to places like Wenzhou, Suzhou, Shanghai, Shenzhen, all taking those routes. And it was a different experience for each city, but there are a lot of similarities that I'm going to share with you. Now, I'm sharing this based on my experience starting from the 28th of September. So anything after that, the information may be outdated. But from my experience, I could buy plane tickets same as usual. Just go to Ctrip or go online, fill in the dates that you plan to travel, and select the airport you want to travel to, put in your passport information, and you're good to go. You can purchase a plane ticket, no problem. I never needed to bring a COVID test, like a negative COVID test. So if you recently came to China from overseas, you typically need to provide a COVID test beforehand to prove that you don't have it. Well, I didn't need to do that at all in China, especially for the speed train, but also for the airplanes. I did need a QR code. And note that this QR code is region specific or province specific. And if you're ever in doubt, ask the airport staff what QR codes I need to download to prove that I'm okay and I don't have COVID, and they can track that I haven't been quarantined in a while and all that information. And there's signs everywhere that tell you how to do it. Although maybe not 100% English, but you can always ask the staff. Usually the Suicon code, like the one I use on WeChat, works about 90% of the time from my experience. But if there are other ones that are very regional and you need to get it for that specific city, you may run into that problem. You will need to bring a mask. There won't be any exceptions. Again, this is from September 28th. And the check-in process is actually quite normal. Once you pass through security, you just find your gate and go in and check in. They didn't need anything special. They might check your QR code, but other than that, there's no special requirements. As I mentioned, you will need to bring your mask the whole time once you're inside the cabin of either the speed train or the airplane. And you can see everyone is wearing masks too, so you won't be the only one sticking out like a sore thumb wearing a mask. It's just normal. I mean, it's pretty much been accepted to be this way in China for a while. Now, once you land or you get to your final destination, well, if you take the speed train, it's not so strict, I guess you could say. But if you're flying, have your QR code ready. Be ready to prove that you haven't been quarantined recently or you haven't come fresh off the boat into China. What I mean by that is there may be a foreigner line and a Chinese line when you actually land on the city you're going to. On the foreigner line, they're going to ask you when's the last time you've been to China, what countries have you been to, provide the documents, provide your QR code, and prove that if you did quarantine, you might have that paperwork to prove you did quarantine. And if not, if there's no proof that you did quarantine and you recently came into China, and you can't prove it to them, it will be at the discretion of the staff to figure out what to do from there. This won't be 100% set in stone, but just so you know, if you can't prove that you did your quarantine and you recently came and you haven't been in China for a long time, there is a small chance that they may put you in quarantine. But let's hope for that not to happen. It has not happened to me. I've had close calls and no calls. So when I went to Wenzhou, typically, if a city recently had outbreaks during a time period, then they're going to be a little bit more stricter. The people that can leave and come into that city, they actually separated me in a different line, and they have people in hazmat suits check my QR code, ask me when was the last time I entered China, if I did anything with quarantine or anything like that. And as long as I proved everything, they let me go on. They almost put me in quarantine, but they didn't. I was able to convince them, no, there's no reason for you to put me in quarantine. And then I had no calls where I went to Shanghai via airplane, and it was just normal business. I didn't even have to go to a separate line because there haven't been cases in Shanghai for a while, so it was just very easy to travel there. I didn't have to worry about anything. So it is city specific. But overall, to protect yourself and to be safe, have your QR code ready. Always bring a mask. And proof that you did quarantine or that you've been in China for a long time, and you should be good to go no matter where you are in China, unless there happens to be a major outbreak and the news media is saying this place is closed down. Other than that situation, you should be all right. So have you had any problems traveling inside China in 2020? Whether it's for the speed train or the airplane, please let me know in the comments down below. Share this with somebody if you think it could be valuable for someone that's planning to travel within China and they may be scared too because they don't know the procedures. You can also reach out to me on social media, on my Instagram, Twitter, or my Facebook group. Just easily search Expat Survival and you can contact me there. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Keep surviving, and I'll catch you in the next one.